What's up YouTube? Real quick before we go into the video, I recently recorded a podcast with James where we talk about super relevant topics about the soccer card market. This will be part 1 of the podcast and we talk about PSA UK / PSA Europe and the impact this can have in our market. If you ended up enjoying this video, please don't forget to leave a like, means a lot to me and is honestly a great way to support my work. Apart from that, if you want to check both links on the description, I have a Discord community with more than 600 members and we are growing quite fast, so please check the link if you are not part of the Discord. And if you want to support me, a very good way will be my Patreon. I will also leave the link on the description. I put content twice a week there. Let's go into the video and I hope you enjoy this one. Today I have a very common guest on this channel, James. I guess most of you guys are aware of him. He's another content creator, a content creator that has been putting a lot of content. And the first time James ended up coming to the channel, he basically was just an Instagram influencer. Right now, James is a YouTube and Instagram influencer, and I think his content, and I know you know this, James, is quite good. Is very educational. But share a couple of words with my viewers that may not know you, why they should check your channel.
Sure. Yeah. So I appreciate the kind words. I don't know if I'd say I'm an influencer just yet. I have a small following of sorts, but
I'm joking.
but yeah, so I produce content pretty much whenever I get addicted to producing content. I'll sit down for like 6 or 7 hours and just record 6 or 7 videos and release them over the next few weeks or so. So the content centers are on a bunch of different things, but it's trying to give, well, at least now I'm trying to focus on giving people lessons that they can learn from if they're entering the market right away. If they don't have any familiarity with the market, I'm trying to create videos where they can learn about some specific topics. Specifically right now, I'm focusing on more modern, ultra modern, trying to simplify it down so that it's not so overwhelming to come to the market and have so many options. So I'm focusing on that a little bit. And then as well as my usual content which deals with more pre-modern and vintage population reports, fundamentals, that sort of thing. So if you're interested in Andre's channel, then you probably know my channel. You'd be interested in that as well, because most of my stuff is pretty much the methodology I use comes very directly from Andre's channel. So I appreciate you for that.
No, for sure. Again, I have a feeling that most people watching this video know you at this point from YouTube, from Discord, etc. So this will not be a normal podcast. Instead of questions, we have a couple of topics to debate. I thought about doing this video alone, but then I thought bringing James to have a different perspective. So the first topic is about PSA. I guess at this point, everyone knows that the PSA UK / PSA Europe will be a thing soon. We don't know the dates, I believe. And right now, they basically will start just like a fast forwarding service. So you send cards to UK, they send the cards to America, but basically you avoid dealing with customs. They do all the job for you. And soon this will also be available for Europe. I know for you, James, this is not that important since you live in America, but you probably understand why this can be a huge deal for the market. I will put a couple of things out that I would love to know your opinion on this. I end up talking about this on Discord, on Patreon, that I believe this can have an impact on population reports for stickers with low rarity. I know a lot of collectors in Europe that they are waiting for PSA to open a ship service, and if they open a ship service in Europe, even better. They probably will send even more stuff. And I'm talking about Merlin stickers, Panini Calciatore stickers, things that normally are quite easy to find. And that's the type of stuff that I think people should be afraid. World Cup stickers, Euro Cup stickers. In the other hand, I don't think that things with strong rarity, true rarity, will be that affected. But who knows? Because trying to predict supply tends to be difficult, predicting demand even more. So, and there is a lot of collectors sitting in a lot of stuff in Europe, because I know a lot of guys doing that. But share with me your opinion on this front, what you think about PSA Europe, that in general, just putting my perspective to finalize my thoughts is I think this is good for the market long run. Certain things may surprise you in a positive way and negative way if the pop reports start to growing.
Yeah, I think my general thoughts on this are very, very similar. I actually think the first thing I posted in response to this was that the David Beckham Merlin sticker is going to explode in terms of population. So I think things like that, very common stickers, at least if they're common to find on the market now, I think they're going to be even more so common to get graded coming from Europe now that they have their own location to send to. So high population stickers like that, I think, are going to continue to rise in population, which means the higher the grade is going to really start mattering more and more and more in the long term. But like you say, it's really important for the ability for the people that are in Europe to get their cards slabbed, especially by PSA, who currently, if we're being honest, has a monopoly on the grading at this point, given their premium and how much output they have. So having PSA be that middleman for the European market, and then hopefully eventually having a facility there is going to do wonders for the market long term. Because if people are just waiting for an easier and a safer way to get all their stuff graded, if PSA can do that for them, that's going to be huge for us overall. So really positive on that aspect. And then, like you say, when it comes to true rarity stickers, I don't think we're going to see a bunch of Zlatan rookies come into the market just because it's being opened in a facility in Europe. But we could see things like that surprise us. And it wouldn't surprise me if we start to see rookies we didn't know existed pop up in low populations and things like that. So everything for this points to being good for the market, except if you're holding currently something like a David Beckham sticker in a mid-grade slab or something like that. Probably not the best news, but for the general market, this is really good.
Yeah, and of course, it's always important to make a differentiation between a collector and the investor. And
yes,
if you have a PSA Merlin, David Beckham, that's still a great collectible. In the end, I mean, it's still a historical sticker for a very important player in pre-modern. But a lot of times, and this channel talks a lot about the financial side of the market, it's important to also have some type of reality check sometimes. I mean, that sticker is increasing quite a lot. And is actually one of the stickers that ended up surprising me the most in the last 2-3 years, because look, we knew that the sticker was not crazy rare, but in the other end, if you compare with other Merlin stickers, for example, like Paul Scholes, Merlin 95, even Lampard to some extent, well, they don't appear in such crazy numbers. Again, I guess you can make an argument, okay, maybe David Beckham is more important. Maybe there is more people looking for David Beckham, and of course can be that. But I still get surprised by when I see people selling 20 copies on eBay, 10 copies on eBay. And it's not like that I see this one time. I see this multiple times in the last two years. So the pop right now, I don't know what is the pop total, but I feel very comfortable to say you guys should make a multiplier of 2x, 3x for that pop, because there is still so many appearing on eBay.
I believe it's over 200 already.
Yeah, and again, it was a sticker that ended up surprising me a little bit, I have to admit. But yeah, I mean, this is part of the job to certain point. I mean, you need to adapt. I was wrong about multiple stuff that I'm trying to correct right now my position. And I think I said this in a couple of videos, but consolidation makes sense all the time, but probably makes even more sense now, because there is also a time in the market that diversification can also make sense. But right now I'm actually almost against that. I think consolidation in things that are true rarity, strong rarity can make a lot of sense. And the Merlin sticker for David Beckham is a fun one, because you actually have a version that is quite rare, the Shreddies version. So maybe if you want 2 or 3 David Beckhams, try to buy just one. Probably is not enough, to be fair, because the Shreddies are selling for a lot. But and this is a random example, by the way. You can apply this logic to Messi rookies, to a lot of cards. Right now, with PSA UK/Europe becoming a thing, consolidation becomes even more important. And try to collect the best. Try to collect things that have strong rarity. I understand sometimes it's all about money, and again, that's the reality. But yeah, in general, I agree with you. And I still think for the long run, this is amazing news for the soccer card market, because if PSA comes to Europe, I believe they want a lot of submissions, so they will probably try to promote the region, to educate the market, so more marketing can be coming to Europe, to United Kingdom. So I'm very optimistic about the soccer card market. We knew this sooner or later will be a thing. Makes a lot of sense for PSA to come to Europe. And honestly, this was such a missed opportunity by Beckett and SGC. I really believe in this, because if they are the ones doing the first step, look, there is a scenario that Europeans will start grading with Beckett because it was the first one. But right now, they will probably try to follow up PSA and again, the first coming to the market, they have a huge advantage.
Yeah, and I think another angle on this that we haven't discussed is the amount of stickers that are in albums in the UK that I think people could end up removing, and the pop reports on those could really, really go up. And then you would see a big premium on ones that were out of album. So I think that's something in the long term that could be really interesting. Say we have a few hundred of the Zidane sticker from Foot that are from the album, and then you have maybe 50 or 100 of them that were not pasted in the album on the pop report. I think that could get really interesting in the long run.
But in vintage, that makes a lot of sense. But in pre-modern, normally you need to take the back out. I know that there is a couple of copies with glue, which tends to be a little bit weird, because if you take the back, you have glue on the sticker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, CSG, I believe, is grading stickers without the back, so it is what it is. Maybe some people agree with them. I think that's a little bit tricky for pop reports, for sure.